On Buffy the Vampire Slayer, evil goes underwater. Its target is the swim team.
Xander?
What are you doing here?
I'm undercover.
You're not under much.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Evil goes underwater.
Where's Buffy?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Slade, the Buffyverse Revisited. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Jeremy.
I'm your other host, James.
And this week, we will be skateboarding into Season 2, Episode 20, Go Fish.
Skateboarding into, like, Tony Hawk doing flip kicks off of ramps.
That's easy for you to say. James, I have one question for you.
7.5 inches.
Whoa, that wasn't it.
Oh.
I was just going to simply say, do you have any kings?
No.
Oh, well, your response is supposed to be no, go fish. But anyway,
After I said no, but it was after I said no, but not before you started talking again, I was like, I should have said no, go fish. So I caught the joke just like a second too late, unfortunately.
Well, you know,
it's been a long day.
Some minds aren't as sharp as others, you know. I mean,
It's been a long day. Okay.
How's your week been?
Not too bad. How about yours?
Not bad. Not bad at all, actually. As we record this, yesterday was my birthday.
It was. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're 73?
74.
74. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm looking into retirement communities as we speak.
Okay.
And hoping to find one that has a lot of bridge playing.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay. Bridge and Pinochle. Okay. Do you already know how to play bridge and Pinochle, or will you be having to learn once you get there?
Well, no. See, once you hit 70, you automatically know how to. It's like it unlocks.
That was actually going to be my follow-up question. Or is that just something that automatically unlocks within you when you hit a certain age?
Yeah, it's just like unlocking an achievement in a game or something. You hit a certain level, and pow, you now have those powers.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
So, do we have anything to discuss? Have we had any communications from anyone?
We have not.
Okay.
We have not.
Not at all surprised.
But Screen Rant, I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. They are or I'm sorry, not Screen Rant, SlashFilm.
Oh, okay.
They are a TV, movie, pop culture website. And this past week, they released a ranking. They released an article. It's every main character in Buffy the Vampire Slayer ranked. And they ranked 12 main characters from Buffy the Vampire Slayer from worst to best. Why they only did 12, I don't know, because as you know, Jeremy, because I gave you the list to get your ranking. Mm-hmm. They left some characters off the list that, in my opinion, definitely should have been on there. Wesley, Faith.
Faith, definitely Faith. I guess maybe Wesley was left off because he was just so much a bigger part of Angel than he ever was Buffy. Maybe that's why.
Right.
But Faith absolutely should have been part of it, because as of season 3, she becomes a very huge part of this franchise.
Right. So they put out that article, which I will put a link to in our YouTube video. I don't know if you have the ability to link that in our uploads for the podcast.
I certainly do.
All right. Well, I will send you that link to the article, and everyone can feel free and go look at their list and see why they ranked the characters the way they did. there's literally no criteria given in the preamble to this ranking, but or as to why they ranked them the way they did, or what criteria they were using. But they do discuss it a little bit in each ranking. I'm not going to get into that. Everyone can go read the article on their own. But I did think it would be fun to look at their ranking and compare it to ours.
Okay.
So what I will do is I will go down the list. Theirs is worst to best, and I'll give you their character in each spot. And why don't you tell me yours, and I will do the same.
Okay. All right.
At number 12,
So this would be the worst.
This would be the worst.
Okay.
So at number 12, they have Angel.
What?
Yes.
What kind of stupid? Okay, this article is already stupid, and I have no respect for it. Everyone should go to this article and comment to this author that they should never write another article about pop culture. How could you possibly put Angel as the worst character?
I have no idea. Like I said, there's no, they don't give any explanation as to what the criteria for their rankings were or anything. So
I mean, the worst character on their list sticks out like a sore dick to me.
Well, we might have differing opinions on that, but why don't you go ahead and tell me who your number 12 is?
Riley.
Okay.
I mean, there's just it's so duh.
Mine is Xander.
Well, see, I think Xander, I would say starting around season 4, maybe late season 3, I think he really, what's the word I'm looking for? He improves drastically, and I think he becomes a pretty integral part and way less of a Joss Whedon, personification. Right. So,
there was a third party entry into this too. So I'm also going to give her rankings.
Okay.
Her number 12 was Anya.
What the? Okay, these two people have never watched the Buffyverse, apparently. Or maybe they've watched like 5 or 6 episodes, or Anya was an awesome. We haven't met Anya yet in our revisitations here, but Anya's an awesome character.
Okay, at number 11, SlashFilm has Oz.
Fuck right off. What are they gonna do? Who's number the third worst? Buffy herself? I mean, fuck right off. This guy or girl is an idiot. Who was your second worst?
My number 11 and the other person who participated in this is number 11 are both Riley.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot you guys didn't do Riley. My 11 is definitely Dawn.
Dawn. Okay.
Yeah, it's just another character we've yet to meet here on our revisitation, but right. Yeah, never got into that whole thing. We won't spoil it, but
okay. SlashFilms number 10 is Dawn.
Okay.
Who's your number 10, Jeremy?
This is tough. I had to put Anya at 10 because I'm having to go up the line of I like all these characters that are left. Those two that I've named, right. If they never existed, it wouldn't have bothered me. But the rest of these 10 characters I like or love, and so I'm just going to have to rank them in order of, I guess, how much I love them. So I'll have to go with Anya on that one.
Okay. My number 10 and the other person that participated in this, her number 10 was the same, and it was also Dawn.
Okay.
Their number 9 SlashFilms is Tara.
Yep, that's going to be my next one, is Tara.
That seems okay. That seems across the board because mine and
not a bad character. Very good.
no, because my number 9 and the other person that participated in this, her number 9, was also Tara.
Okay, so we're all on agreement there.
We are. SlashFilms number 8, Xander.
That I was going to go Xander next.
Okay, Xander number 8. The third person who participated in this, her number 8 was Oz.
Okay.
My number 8 is Spike.
Oh, fuck you. Get out of this podcast right now. You are fired, sir. You clean out your desk and turn in your badge at the security station. All right.
SlashFilms number 7, and this is disgusting that they made it this high on the list. Riley Finn.
Oh, fuck it. See, this person's never watched this fucking show. Mine, what'd you say? It's number 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my number 7 is Oz.
Okay.
And he would have been higher because I love Seth Green and I loved the character of Oz. He would have been higher in my list if it weren't for the fact that he's not around much longer. Spoiler alerts. You know.
So my number 7 was Cordelia.
Okay.
And the other person who participated in this, her number 7 was Willow.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. SlashFilms number 6 was Willow.
Okay.
Who's your number 6?
Mine would be Cordy.
Okay. My number 6 was Willow.
Okay.
And the other person who participated in this, her number 6 was Cordelia.
Yeah. Okay. See, I think this third party person has done way more watching of the Buffyverse than the person who actually wrote this. They have a lot better taste.
SlashFilms number 5 is Cordelia.
Okay.
Who's your number 5?
Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna have to go Giles.
Giles.
I want to put him higher, but you've only got so many slots, so I'll have to go Giles.
Right. Our third party participant, her number 5 was Angel.
Who goes on to get his own fucking show, and she puts him at 5. So yeah, I don't know. She's that's a swing and a miss there.
And mine was I lost my list and now I don't remember.
Lol.
So moving on.
Well, you got Spike, Buffy, Angel, Giles.
Oh, they must have been Spike then.
Okay. No, you said that last.
No, I said Spike. I said Spike. Spike made number 9 for me.
Yeah, Spike was way back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Huh. Well, I remember who my top 3 were, so.
Well, yeah, that's pretty obvious. Let's just go to the top 3. Who's your number 1 character, James?
Let's finish this. SlashFilms number 4 was Giles.
Okay.
Who's yours?
I'm not sure. I didn't put numbers next to them. Who have I not said? I got my top 3. Did I say Tara? No, Willow. I'm sorry, Willow.
Okay.
Willow. Yep.
Anya was my number 4.
I can see that. She's a good character.
Number 3 for SlashFilm was Anya.
Okay.
Who is yours?
For me, number 3 is going to be Angel.
Okay. For me, number 3 was also Angel.
Okay.
Number 2.
Honestly, I thought you would have Angel higher.
Did you?
Yeah, I really did.
And our third-party participants number 3 was Xander.
Oh God.
I know.
Okay.
SlashFilms number 2 was Spike.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was Giles. And our third-party participants was also Giles.
Okay, and this is what place number 2?
Number 2, yep.
Yeah, mine would be Buffy.
Okay. And number 1 on SlashFilms list was, of course, Buffy herself.
For me, it's Spike.
Of course it is. For myself and our third-party participant, it was also Buffy.
Yeah.
So yeah. Some of those rankings on SlashFilm.
Films is. It's like they knew, okay, we got to put Buffy as number 1 because it's her show,
right?
And we'll just mix up the rest because we don't know these characters. Let's just because this doesn't seem like.
So I'll be when I decided to rank them, I did it best to worst, which obviously it's the same, you know.
Yeah.
But I will admit that right away I was like, Buffy has to be number 1. It's her fucking show. Like, kind of the same reason why all the way back in season 1 I gave Welcome to the Hellmouth a 5.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's the first episode, you know.
I've never bought into the notion that you have to love the main character of a certain show the most because it's like about them. I mean, my other favorite show is Highlander, and who's my favorite character on that, James?
Mythos.
Exactly. Not
who would also make number 9 on my list of worst Highlander characters.
Fucked everything about you. Shut your whole entire face.
All right, so that does it for that. Like I said before, there'll be a link in the YouTube video and our Facebook and Twitter post about this episode, and Jeremy will put the link out wherever podcasts are found, and you guys can read their article. And we also invite you to give us your own ranking of characters, best to worst or worst to best, from the entire Buffyverse. You don't have to limit it just to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because if they had included Wesley and Faith on this list, my top 5 would have been Buffy, Giles, Angel, Faith, Wesley. I mean,
yeah, I don't know how my top 5 would have changed. Those two wouldn't make my top 5, but no. My 6 to 12 definitely would have changed up.
So just thought I'd add a little bit of funsies to the podcast this week with that.
Funsies.
But now, how about, Jeremy, if I fry you up in a nice peanut oil?
Okay.
Some tasty dates and deets.
What if I have a severe peanut allergy?
I'll use avocado oil.
What if I have severe avocado allergy?
I'll use extra virgin olive oil.
Yes, why don't you fry me up some of those dates and delicious, delicious deets?
As previously stated, we are skateboarding into Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2, Episode 20, the 32nd episode of the series overall, Go Fish. Our episode director this week is David Semmel, and our episode credited writers are David Fury and Eileen Ellen Hampton, who happen to be married. They are married and frequent writing collaborators. And this also does mark our first episode written by David Fury, who would go on to become one of the more prolific and popular writers for and in the Buffyverse. Which just to sidetrack a minute here, get your opinion too, Jeremy. I think shows reach a whole different level of relevance, fan wise, and pop culture wise, when people bother to learn who's working behind the scenes on the show, writers, directors, all that kind of stuff. It seems to me that all the fandoms I've seen, the few I've been a part of, that's been a big thing with us is knowing who's writing, our favorite episodes and who's directing those. What do you think?
I agree. And a lot of times when you really get to know the writers well, you can just go about 5 to 10 minutes into an episode and be like, this is written by so and so. I bet anything.
Right.
David Abramowitz for our other show, Highlander, that we love. I could just tell an Abramowitz script, an episode as soon as it started.
Yeah.
And directing wise, sometimes that's hard. I know Dennis Barry from our show we loved. You could spot him a mile away because he liked to use a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Right.
definitely, yeah. But we'll just say yeah.
Our original air date was May 5th, 1998 on the now defunct WB network. Our regular cast, as always, includes Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, Nicholas Brennan as Xander, Allison Hannigan as Willow, Charisma Carpenter as Cordelia, David Boreanaz as Angel, and Anthony Stewart Head as Giles. Our guest stars this week include Jeremy Vincent Garrett as Cameron, Wentworth Miller as Gage, Danny Strong as Jonathan, Jake Patelis as Dodd, Shane West as Sean, Conchata Farrell as Nurse Greenlee, Charles Cyphers as Coach Marin, and Armin Shimmerman as Principal Snyder. And people may recognize quite a few names from that list. We've got Wentworth Miller, who went on to be the star of Fox's Prison Break, which ran for 4 seasons, I think it was.
Way too long, yeah. How do you break out of a prison for 4 seasons? That's all I want to know.
It was a different prison each season. He also went on to play Captain Cold on The Flash and its spin-off series Legends of Tomorrow. Very popular character in
that no one saw because no one cares.
In the Arrowverse.
No one likes the Arrowverse.
That is not true.
Or the DCEU in general.
The DCEU, I would agree with that. The Arrowverse, however, is very popular for the years that it has been on. Shane West, also a very recognizable name in our guest cast this week, as well as Conchata Farrell, who most people will probably remember as the housekeeper on 2.5 Men.
Yeah, real quick, who'd you say? Shane West?
Shane West, yes.
Who did he play in this?
He played Sean.
Okay, and where's he from?
Let's see. I do happen to have his IMDb right here. I bookmarked it.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just
No, that's fine.
I thought you like literally knew him and were like, oh, I know him, because he didn't look familiar to me at all.
Let's see. He was in. Let's see if I can find some of the more popular stuff. He was on Gotham for 4 episodes. He was on the. That was such a hugely popular show, dude.
Oh.
I didn't watch it. I couldn't get into it, and I'm a huge Batman fan, but it was very popular.
Yeah, who wants to watch Batman as a little boy? I mean, come on, that's like watching Superman. That's like watching Smallville. Who the fuck cared?
Smallville was phenomenal. Okay. Smallville was such a great show.
Okay.
Huge fan following for Smallville. He was on the show Salem.
50 people.
Salem. He was also on Nikita.
Was that a reboot of La Femme Nikita, which itself was a reboot?
It was, yes.
Okay. Okay. I mean, you don't have to. I didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything.
No, that's fine. He was on ER. He played Tom Sawyer in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I love that movie.
That movie
got such a bad rap.
League of Extraordinary. Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree too.
That movie was good.
He was the male lead to Mandy Moore in A Walk to Remember.
I don't even know who Mandy Moore is. So
yeah,
basically, this was like his springboard.
Yeah. I mean, he had a lot of gigs before that, but this is definitely one of his early things before he made it kind of as a recognizable name.
I feel like this is one of Whitworth Miller's first things too, because he is not a very good actor in this.
This is his first screen credit.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense because, like I said, he just did not come across as very comfortable in front of the camera. Let's put it that way.
Our episode synopsis this week reads: Xander goes undercover as a swimmer to help Buffy net a sea monster that's been dispatching the members of the school swim team one by one.
I mean, I guess. I mean, he doesn't go undercover till like the last 15 minutes, but like they act like that's one of the key aspects of this. I don't know. Mine reads quite simply: members of the Sunnydale swim team are killed by a gilled monster of unknown origins. Again,
it's probably more accurate than the one I have.
Yeah. Why don't you take us into that sweet cold open, James?
So we open up at the beach. It's nighttime, and the Sunnydale High swim team are celebrating their latest victory while our trio of Xander and Cordelia and Willow are warming themselves by a small bonfire. And Xander's complaining about the swim team having a celebration and why is it such a big deal? He's also complaining about it being cold, which I have to wonder to Californians what constitutes cold, because it was 60 degrees.
I think like anything below 70.
Because it was 60 degrees here today, and I was freezing.
yeah, it was here too.
Or I'm not freezing. It was nice here. We pan away from them, and we see that they are continuing a streak of being like the three worst friends Buffy could possibly have, because Buffy is sulking all by herself over on a rock, staring out at the
I wondered the same thing. I was like, why is none of her friends with her?
Like, and this dude, Cameron, a member of the swim team, comes up to Buffy and he starts spouting off about the majesty of the ocean and all this gibberish gobbledygook that made no fucking sense whatsoever.
Now you know how I feel about Drusilla.
And Buffy kind of tries to shy him away a little bit, and he says he's just looking to talk to her, and he likes hanging out with her. And I'm like, how do you know this? This is the first time we've ever fucking seen you.
He's like, I just like being around you. And I'm like, what? You've been around her for the last 14 seconds.
Right. I'm like, what is it? I'm going to try that next time. I'm just going to walk up to some random woman in the grocery store and spout some gobbledygook about avocados being true mothers, birthing and devouring their young, or whatever the fuck this Jamook said. And then when she tries to make me go away, I'm gonna be like, no pressure. I just like hanging out with you.
I just really like being around you.
Right? Like, what? Come on. This is the problem with television shows in general, is they have to introduce characters that they have to try and get us slightly invested in a very short period of time, and it doesn't always work.
Well, I'll never forget the mindfuck I had when they introduced Dawn to this show.
Right.
That I think the entire fandom for that hour-long episode was like, what in the fuck is happening? And why is no one talking about this?
Yes. So as that's going on, our good friend Jonathan is being dunked in a bucket of what appears to be ice water by members of the swim team, and Buffy, of course.
Why do they just have a pail of ice water with them?
Who the fuck knows, Jeremy?
It's literally just there.
Who the fuck
I
knows?
was like, what the fuck where does this come from?
Who the fuck knows?
Let's
Why
on the beach and we'll bring a pail of ice water with us.
Why are Xander and Willow letting their BFF Buffy sulk by herself over on a rock?
And they're like staring at her from the fire and like talking shit.
Right. Like, they're not even staring at her. They're paying
unhappy.
They're not even they're paying no fucking attention to her. Like, they're such bad friends. So yeah, Buffy saves Jonathan and scares off the 2 swim team members that were bullying him, and Jonathan's not happy about it, and he's all like, leave me alone, I can handle it myself, yada yada. So
like, no, clearly you can't.
Right.
They were literally just drowning you. Literally drowning you. And you couldn't stop them.
Right. So these 2 bullies are Dodd and Gage, and they
who the fuck came up with these names in this episode? I had a problem with all 3 of these the main guys' names. Dodd, Gage, and Cam.
The same people that named their kids Caden and
Jaden and Zayden and Frayden and Layden. And, Anastasia and Alexa.
So they walk off and they're muttering about how weird Buffy is and this and that, and Dodd stops and Gage keeps walking, and like,
which really quick is do you happen to know, and I'm not saying this in a joking way, is Dodd short for something?
Not that I could find.
So it's just D-O-double-D. That's a name.
D-O-double-D.
That is not a name I have ever heard before or since this episode.
No.
Dodd.
No. Until I turned on closed captioning, I thought his name was Todd.
Oh yeah, I learned after like midway through the first season to always have closed captioning on, because things will be said and otherwise I would have to backtrack like 60 times and being like, what the fuck did he just say or she say? So yeah, I saw the Dodd and I was like, is that like short for Dodd Ganaham or something? I mean, I don't know. It's like, what is it? I don't know.
Mrs. Smith, what are we putting on the baby's birth certificate? Doddingham.
Yeah, I mean, it's like she just threw up some alphabet soup and that was the name. I don't know. Dodd.
Right. So they're walking and Dodd stops and Gage keeps walking and he smells something really awful and stops briefly, but then kind of keeps going on. And
no, he doesn't though. That's the fucked up part. This fucked me up because, okay, those 2 were supposed to be going down to the water to have a quote swim to cool off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they're walking that direction and then the one stops and then the other one gets the horrible smell. But then he turns around and walks back to the group of people, like where
you're right, he does.
And I'm like, why did he do that?
Right.
And then the other one's just gone.
Right. And as Gage is walking away, we eventually pan to Dodd's meat suit laying on the beach. Literally just his flesh and his clothes.
Yeah.
And
he had this really, really lame tattoo on his shoulder that Buffy had already remarked on, and you can see they make sure that you see that on the flesh suit. So that it's his flesh.
It's a shark tattoo.
But it's really, really bad.
Yeah. And in the background of the scene, we see some weird creature skulking away into a nearby sewer drain. And that is our cold open.
Yeah. At this point in the episode, in my rewatching, I was like, okay, I don't know anything. I don't know what's happening right now. Like, you're just like, what? Okay. So anyway, we cut into computer class, and again, Willow, the unpaid high school student, is
So fucking-
is still teaching the class.
I gotta give them credit though. Like they're following through with this.
Oh yeah, they're balls deep into it at this point, because uh, as we find out in this same scene, and let's make note that the teachers union has no problem with this student taking on a position that could be filled by a qualified teacher.
If anyone outside of Sunnydale school like even knows about this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So she's teaching, and she's got the class making pie charts, and she's walking around looking, telling everybody, good job. And Gage is just sitting there playing solitaire. And somehow or another on his Windows 3.1 machine, he has gotten the cards to have, quote, naked ladies on them, according to Willow. And I'm like, yeah, that didn't exist. So class bell ring, class ends, everybody leaves. As they're leaving, Principal Snyder comes in, and he's basically kissing Gage's ass. He has a mouthful of Gage's testicles right now.
Before you go on, I just briefly back up to real quick this confrontation between Gage and Willow. Like Gage could give two fucks.
Yeah, he doesn't give a flying fuck knuckle.
And we're kind of like, in my opinion, we're supposed to kind of like be on Willow's side here. Like why, like, Gage is being a real dick to her, but of course he's being a dick to her. She's not a fucking teacher.
Yeah, she's just a snotty, ass-kissing fucking teacher's pet who got to become teacher because their teacher was murdered in school.
Right.
Because pretty much would have been the same way and been like, fuck, you're not my teacher. Fuck off.
I would have been like, fuck you, Rosenberg. What authority do you have over me?
Right. I've known you since fucking kindergarten. You don't get to tell me what to do, you fucking bitch. But anyway, so Snyder is kissing Gage's ass because, he's like the star swimmer guy. And we come to find out that the swim team is a big deal this year at school because they've been doing really well. And they're what are they up for? It's the state championships, right?
State championships, yep.
So first he starts by asking Willow, or he tells her that they're having trouble finding a permanent replacement for Miss Calendar due to it being so late in the term. And I'm like, no, that's not a thing. No, there are people out there who were substitutes professionally.
Right.
It's not a thing.
They could have had a substitute the next fucking day.
After Miss Calendar's head was twisted off of her body.
Her body wouldn't have even been cold yet. They could have had a permanent sub for the rest of the year.
And that person would have been more than happy to take it on and be like, oh, fuck yeah, 3 more months of guaranteed pay?
Right.
Fucking right, I'll take it.
Damn right.
But no, they're having trouble finding someone this late in the term.
And the fact that the teacher they were replacing was brutally murdered in the school would not have bothered them at all.
No, they'd have been like, what happened to the previous? Oh, she was murdered. Oh, in school? Had her head twisted off her body? I'll take it.
Right. The sub would have been like, she must have been a bitch.
Yep. Probably had it coming. I'll take it. So he's like, so can you continue teaching this class, like at least through finals? And of course, Willow's like, well, hell yeah, because I'm a giant kiss ass. Anyway, Snyder makes it clear without basically coming out and saying it that Gage is currently failing this class and he needs Gage to get a D at least, so that he can still swim for the team.
I like how you say that he says it without coming out and saying it, because Willow basically uses the same description when
Yeah.
she's saying it when she's telling Cordy and Xander about it.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, he fucking said it.
Well, it's like he
Like,
did.
did he say the words, "You need to change Gage's grade to a D because he's the star of the swim team"? No, those words didn't come out of his mouth.
Right. And that was his trickery.
Right.
So, but yeah, he makes it clear that that's what he wants to happen. And Willow's like, and then we cut to Xander, Cordy, and Willow walking in the halls, and as you said, she's telling them all about the conversation she just had with Snyder, and Xander's incredulous. He's fucking pissed because he's like, what about all of us who work, their asses off to get their D's, and blah, blah, blah. And Cordy is, of course, totally cool with it because, it's an athlete and she's all about, that kind of thing and people getting special treatment. So, Xander's shitty that Buffy's not there to share in this misery. And why isn't she there? Well, because she's with, oh fuck, I've already forgot his name.
Cameron.
Cam. She's with Cam, and they are just now, which I don't understand what's happening here, because it would appear that they've had at least one class that has happened and ended, but Cam and Buffy are just now pulling up to school in Cam's super dope '94 Mustang.
Maybe it was a free period. That's what I chalked it up to.
But I thought only seniors got free periods. That's how it was in my high school.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're just now pulling up to school for whatever reason, and he's still just fucking yakking about the ocean and all this, like you said, this mumbo jumbo nonsense shit. And Buffy's clearly bored out of her fucking brain. She could not give a French fried titty fuck what he's talking about. And she basically wants to put a bullet in her brain right now just to get out of this situation. And all of a sudden, he's just like talking normal. They're kind of having somewhat of a normal thing. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's just like, "Are you wearing a bra?" And she's like, "What?" Because when he said that, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Right. I was like, so much for no pressure. I want you to be comfortable.
Just said that too. I should have brought that up. He had just talked about how like, there's no romantic pressure here. I just want you to be comfortable. I just like being around you and I want to talk. And then he literally, the next sentence is, he goes, "Are you wearing a bra?" And she's like, "The fuck?" And
I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but kind of to this, what I'm about to say kind of links back to what you were saying before about how, when you're a fan of the show and you start learning who's behind the show and stuff, like you can pick out an episode and be like, "Oh, so and so must have written this, or so and so must have directed this because of visual cues or dialogue." So, I didn't remember who had written and directed this episode. Okay. Because I do those notes way peek behind the curtain. I do that kind of stuff like before we even start recording for the season and watching the episodes. So I had forgotten, and between this character and this scene, and then a scene that comes up later, you might know which one I'm talking about. I was like, did fucking Joss write this episode?
He had some fucking input.
I'm like, did Joss fucking write this episode? Did he direct this episode?
There are way too many Joss bell ringings in this episode. Yeah. I'm like, dude, he had fucking input, or he did a rewrite on the script or something, because this is Joss through and through.
Right. And like this scene, I was like, is one of them.
It was out of his autobiography of his first date with a chick. This is exactly how his first date with a chick went.
And then there's there's two scenes that come up later, and you might know the ones I'm talking about already. Without
I know one of them. One of them just popped in my head.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Well, when we get to them, let me know if they're the ones that you were like, yeah. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. There is some heavy Joss Whedon influence in this fucking episode. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, "Are you wearing a bra?" And she's like, just like we were watching it, everybody was like, what? And he just gets like aggro all of a sudden. He's like, yo, like she tries to get out of the car and he won't let her. And he's like, just chill out. I'm not going to hurt you.
He fucking locks the door. The doors.
Like, why couldn't she just be like, click?
Not only that, but my friend had a Mustang of that era. And I know for a fact that, like most cars nowadays, unless you've set the child lock,
yeah, you can still open.
You just open the door from the inside and it'll fucking unlock.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, maybe he has disabled, or maybe he had the child locks turned on.
Maybe he
because he is clearly an aggro rapist. So
right, this isn't his first rodeo.
Yeah, he's clearly raped several girls in this school.
Or his first rapio, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. You know that there are girls in Sunnydale High School that have a group that they've all been raped by Cameron in his shitty Mustang. So, because this guy is a super fucking douchebag.
They have nightmares about late 90s model green Mustangs.
Lime green Mustangs, yeah. And everybody knows those mid and late 90 Mustangs were the worst Mustangs in the history of Mustangs. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, he won't let her out of the car and shit, and he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you, and she's like, I'm not worried about me. And then he like tries to grab at her, like I'm not sure if he was trying to grab her or trying to fondle her. You can't really tell, but anyway, he's trying to put his hands on her, and she like twists his arm, and the best part, she takes his head and bangs it on the steering wheel, and you hear honk from the horn. It's just fucking hilarious. That cracked me up. And she fucks his nose up because he's like, oh, and he's got his hands up to his nose, and he's like, you broke my nose. Well, just at that point, she looks up through the windshield, and Principal Snyder's standing there, and he is not happy. And he wags his finger at her to come with him. And we cut it inside the school, and we're in the nurse's office station deal there. And what was that she was like beating the hell out of to hand him to put on his nose? Was it a steak?
No, it's an ice pack. It's a frozen ice pack.
Okay, well, she's like crack. She's like smack. I didn't know what she was doing, but anyway, she hands him this ice pack, and he's putting his nose. You see his nose now, and it is okay. Let me tell a little bit more. Snyder is thinking that Buffy was the aggressor in this whole thing, of course. And Cam's like, yeah, first she leads me on, and then she goes all schizo. And Buffy's like, you motherfucker.
This is another scene. Like this isn't one of the ones I was talking about a few minutes ago, but now that we're talking about this show again, this is another scene where when this scene was over, I was like, Joss wrote this episode. He wrote this. He had to have.
It's from his autobiography, bro. He's like, excuse me, I'm sorry. Not very professional of me to cough like that. She says, he's like, and then she first leads me on, then she goes all schizo, and Buffy's like, you piece of shit, and she goes towards him, and he's all like, well, look at how she dresses, isn't it obvious? And I'm like, so I'm looking at Buffy, and I'm like, oh mate, because sometimes Buffy can wear some scandalous clothing. But I'm looking at her and I'm like, the clothing she's wearing in this episode is totally just normal girl clothes. It's not like she had like this V-cut shirt down to her belly button or something. I mean, she's just wearing clothes.
Right, but I'm gonna interject here. And I know you, so I'm sure you didn't mean it this way. But
No,
regardless
what
of
you're
what
gonna
she was
say.
wearing, like
I
that,
know.
that's not. And that's why I say, like, I know you didn't mean it that way, but
Yeah.
like
But
how
Buffy can dress pretty fucking sexy sometimes.
right.
And so I was thinking, oh, maybe. And then I was like, wait a minute. She's not even wearing, she's almost wearing like bum around the house clothes. And I'm like, what is he fucking talking about? And and I failed to mention Coach is in here too. So it's the coach, the nurse, Principal Snyder, and Buffy and this douchebag. They're all in there. And she's like, what are you talking about the way I'm dressed? And Snyder is concerned only because he wants that fucking championship, and he's talking to the coach. Him and the coach kind of go off, step aside to talk, and like I was saying earlier, Cam's nose is fucked. It looks like a smashed fucking tomato. And Snyder's all to the coach is all like, well, do you think we can still win? And he's like, well, it's the nose isn't broken. And I'm like, what? I'm sorry. That's not if that's not broken. Like that nose is clearly it ain't broke. It is fucking it's melted. Like it is fucked. And he's like, but we're gonna need Cam at 110% to win. Because he's the best since because of Dodd. And they kind of trail off, and Buffy hears it, and Buffy's like, well, what happened to Dodd? And then they're like, fuck off, none of your business. And then the coach is like, why don't you start dressing more appropriately from now on? And they leave, and that's the end of that scene. But go ahead.
Yeah, he's like, what does he say? He's like, it's stop dressing like it's a dance club or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, this whole scene really fucking irritated the shit out of me.
Well, yeah, because
Like,
first of all, is there a dress code? And if so, is she breaking it? Then fuck off.
right.
If
And
the answer's
also,
no.
right. And also, like I said, like it irritated me too because like it doesn't. And I don't care if she was wearing the shortest skirt known to man and nothing but a bra top. Like dress
with holes with their nipples out of the bra.
like dress is not consent. Like end of story. Like it doesn't fucking matter what she's wearing.
What if
And
she's
then
wearing a shirt that says "I consent"?
You just love to play devil's advocate, don't you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm just fucking around. No,
And then
it's the '90s. This is how people still act like that. It's 2022.
right, it's ridiculous.
Look how she dressed. She was asking for it. See,
right. But the other thing that irritated me about this scene was like, can you not swim if you have a fucking broken nose?
Yeah, I don't get it.
What?
Because these boys on this swim team obviously don't take it very seriously because none of them shave like how like swimmers who are like a really
right.
They shave like their heads, they shave their armpits, their leg, like all the hair. Well,
yeah.
none of these swimmers are like that. So I'm like, well, it's not that deep to them.
Right.
So I'm sure a little broken nose isn't going to stop Mr. Super Swimmer from,
Right.
But
right. Please carry on.
They seem to be quite concerned about this broken nose. Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah. So then we cut to the library, and Buffy's telling the whole gang, everybody's there, the Scoobs, I mean, and she's telling everybody what happened, and she's just talking and talking and talking without hardly taking a breath, and they're all just kind of staring at her like, will you please fucking take a breath? And she kind of realizes that at the same time, and she quickly sits down, and she's like, so what's up with you guys? And Giles is like, well, thanks for taking an interest finally. And he explains to her that human remains had been found on the beach that morning. Dodd Ready? You ready? Not only is his first name Dodd, his last name is McAlvey. Dodd McAlvey. And she's like, was it vampires? And Giles is like, no, he was eviscerated. There was nothing left but skin and cartilage. And Willow's like, yeah, I ripped him open and ate his insides like an Oreo cookie. And everybody looks at her like, and so just one of those little funny ha-ha moments for Willow. And Snyder is wanting to keep it quiet so that the rest of the students don't find out and upset them. And Xander says, and by students, he means the swim team. So yeah, that's what they're doing there. That's what the Scoobs are doing there in the library. They're researching, trying to find the monster in question. And then we cut to the steam room, because I forgot to say 2 scenes ago, as the coach was leaving the nurse's office, he told Cam that he wanted him to hit the steam room for a while. And so we cut to said steam room now, and Cam's in there. And he kind of keeps hearing something, and he's kind of looking around out the glass of the steam room, and it's actually Freddy Krueger. He's out there. He actually no, he whatever it is, it's like we see like a POV shot of it every now and then, of it like moving around and creeping around, and then the door flies open to the steam room, and you're thinking, oh shit, but it's just the coach, and he's like, all right, that's enough, hit the shower. And then he just pulls out a 45 and shoots the kid. No one knows why.
Which really made no fucking sense after he just told him, all right, hit the showers.
Well,
And
when
then
he said
fucking
the shower,
shits him.
well, he meant blood shower out of your head from where I just shot.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
I thought maybe he called his gun shower.
Yeah, let's shoot you with the shower. Then we cut to Xander. He's heading to the Coke machine because he's thirsty. And what is he? He says something really dumb, like must have thirst quenched, or I don't know, something dumb like that.
Yeah. Too much research, need beverage.
Yeah, there you go. So he's counting his change in his pocket, and he's heading that direction. I'm like, wow, the days when you could actually buy a soda from a machine with actual change out of your pocket. Now you better have a debit card or a fucking $10 bill. So he literally runs into Cam. They smack into each other. Neither one of them's paying attention, and Cam's all like, watch it. And Xander says, oh, I'm so sorry, your swim teamliness. And like does a little fake little kowtow to him, and Cam's like, loser. And Xander's like, oh, I like the nose, Cam. It's a good look for you. And he's all like, what is that supposed to mean? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I just love it when you guys mess with Buffy. And then he says, they're like face to face, and Cam's like, you're lucky I'm hungry. And I was like, what?
Right.
What? I have a death feud with you. If it weren't for the fact that I was hungry, I hear this here and now.
I hear that's what actually ended things between the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Exactly.
The McCoys got hungry, and they were like,
"Yeah, you're lucky we're hungry." And
we're hungry, Hatfields, and then that was the end of it. After years and years and years of family feuding.
So when he says that he's hungry, Xander's like, well, the cafeteria is closed. And then Cam says, not to me, because, he's an important athlete. So he can go into the cafeteria and eat that slop whenever he wants. And it's like, you lucky bastard.
Son of a bitch.
So Cam enters the cafeteria, and he starts smelling something that's apparently pretty awful by the look on his face. Like the guy on this buddy on the beach earlier. And we cut back, and Xander's still at the Coke machine trying to decide what to get, and he hears a scream coming from the cafeteria. So he runs in there, which, if that were me and I heard that fucker scream after, I'd be like, fuck him, I hope he's getting eaten by something. And I would literally get my Coke and go back to the library.
Right. I would have heard the scream. I would have looked over in that direction and been like,
huh, I bet he's getting eaten by a vampire. Fuck him. But no, Xander drops everything and runs into the cafeteria. And what does he see? Just destruction. Tables are everywhere. Shit's broken. which all of that happened really quickly and soundlessly. Because all he heard was a scream from Cam. So he he walks a little bit further in, and now we see Cam's skin suit laying there, and there's just kind of like smoke coming up from it, and he's like, Xander's like, oh my god, and he like covers his mouth and his nose like he's getting ready to throw up, and he turns around to leave, and there's this fucking hideous monster thing. It kind of looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I said that before a few scenes from now when they actually say that. I was like, oh, that looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. For our younger audience, forget it. You'll have no idea what I'm talking about. And it like roars at him or whatever, and he screams like a little bitch, and we cut to a commercial. And when we come back, what's happening, Ames J?
The giant fish monster has unhinged its jaws and is swallowing Xander whole.
Yeah, it is. And the amount of blood that is pouring from Xander's half-eaten carcass is astounding.
Yeah. No. We
that didn't happen.
We come back, and now we're in the library, and Xander is frantically directing Cordelia and how to sketch out the monster that he saw.
Which, hang on.
At what point did Cordelia develop art skills? Yes,
thank you.
I know.
And not just art skills, like she is
it's pretty good.
Very fucking well and very accurately. And like she's using, I think, a pencil, but it's clearly like a chalk fucking drawing, and I'm like, but anyway, yeah. Go ahead.
There's the three of them, or I'm sorry, Giles is there too, and the three of them have a little back and forth, like, was this what you saw? And Xander's not really sure. He said it was dark, and
I don't understand this whole thing because, I'm not really sure. It was kind of dark. The picture that she had drawn
was fairly accurate.
It's a literal 1-for-1 exact fucking interpretation of the thing we saw.
Right.
But he's not sure, even though he would have had to have described this in insane detail for her to be able to draw it. But man, I don't know. It was kind of dark.
It was dark, and
also
it died.
It's so suspicious of whether his recollection is correct. Of all the shit that we've seen in Sunnydale, they're not buying the creature from the Black Lagoon. They're just because Giles is like, I don't know,
Well, I don't think they're doubting what he saw. I think they're doubting whether or not he's accurately describing what he saw.
Well, that's what I mean. Why would they even think that? It's Sunnydale. We have seen insane shit in Sunnydale.
Yeah.
And now they're like, but I don't know. Nothing could look that funny, weird, could it? Like if he had came in there and said, there was this giant thing that looked like a carrot and it was on fire and it was trying to eat me, I would fucking believe him. I'd be like, oh fuck, well, we need to look up Flaming Carrot Demon now and see what his fucking deal is. But for whatever reason, Giles is very suspicious.
Right. So yeah, they have that brief back and forth, and at that point, Buffy and Willow come back into the library, and they tell them that they've found out that Cameron and Dodd were the two best swimmers on the swim team, and that makes Cage next in line as the third best, and
Gage.
And so they decide that Buffy's gonna shadow Gage, and because obviously they think he's gonna be attacked next, and Willow gets the assignment of interrogating Jonathan, because they determine that since Jonathan was attacked by the swim team, he obviously has a reason to want to harm them. And we cut to that interrogation scene with Willow and Jonathan in the computer lab, and she's got a she's got a lamp on him, and she's
Well, you missed a scene.
what?
Gage in the common area, and Buffy creeping on him. He's like playing a Game Boy.
I think I have that somewhere. Hold on.
And he keeps looking over, like he looks over because he feels eyes on him, and then she looks away really quick. Then we
well,
get
okay, so I have it a little out of order. I summed this whole thing up, and I've got that Buffy's following Gage around.
Okay, my bad.
I didn't get into detail about it. So yeah, she's.
But is that in fact a Game Boy he's sitting there playing? Because it looked like he was playing some kind of handheld game system, and it looked like a Game Boy. I was like, "Holy shit! I haven't seen one of those in 100 years."
Right. So, but also while she's following him around, Xander overhears Coach Marin and Principal Snyder talking about how they need another swimmer, or they won't be eligible to compete in the state championships. And they don't even care if he can swim as long as he can wear a swimsuit. And Willow's interrogating Jonathan, and he eventually confesses that he did want revenge on the swim team, and he did it by sneaking in and peeing in the pool.
Yeah, and Willow's like, "Oh, ooh."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Honey, just FYI, if you've ever been swimming before, you have been swimming in lots of piss. Just FYI."
So then we cut to the Bronze that night, and
let me see because I've got a clip to play.
Okay.
But
I hope it's the clip I think it is.
I don't
considering know. Who's going to be in this scene.
Well, actually, this is 2 scenes.
Oh, okay.
So,
again, I'm starting to summarize my stuff a lot more.
I still summarize a lot. I still summarize a lot too, but I keep it in order so that I don't fuck up like what happens and what Anyway, so yeah, we are at the Bronze, and Buffy's still creeping on Gage. And no, it's not the clip you were hoping for. I know what you meant. I was gonna get that clip, and I thought, it's just not very long, and it's. But anyway, Buffy's creeping on Gage still, and he's playing pool, and he knows that she's watching him, and so he finally like fucking goes over and confronts her, and this is the conversation they have.
This mean my shadow act? It's getting old. What do you want from me?
Well, it's a little embarrassing. You see, I'm a swim groupie.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. You know, there's just something about the smell of chlorine on a guy. Oh, baby. Okay. Obviously, my sex appeal is on the fritz today, so I'll just give it to you straight. There's something lurking out there, and it's making fillets of the populace, and I think you might be next.
Uh-huh. And you think that because?
Well, it's already attacked. It's already killed some people.
You're one twisted sister, you know that? Cam told me about your games. Go find someone else to harass.
When did Cam have a chance to tell him about any type of games Buffy may or may not be playing?
Who knows?
Because I kept thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, there never would have been an opportunity for that conversation.
The only thing my head went to after he said that is that it's possible that some time perhaps elapsed, however briefly, between the swim team celebration at the beach and Buffy and Cam getting into their altercation. But then I remembered that they said they found Dodd's body on the beach literally like that morning, so it was the next day. So,
yeah.
So I don't know.
And once they had an altercation in the car, there definitely wasn't a chance for for those two to talk. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
hey, you got the same beard brush I've got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same one.
Yep.
Yep. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so he he says go find somebody else to harass, and he blows by her and leaves. And as he walks outside into the alley, he literally mutters "psycho bitch," and I'm like, whoa,
Right?
what the hell, She's literally saying, hey, I think you might be in danger. I'd like to try to help, but that makes her a psycho bitch. Anyway, right as he says psycho bitch, we see somebody looking at him, and from the shadows, right? I mean, who could it possibly be? I'm not sure.
I don't know. That
Uh,
that's actually the clip I was referring to.
Yeah, I know.
The theme song.
Yeah. So, no, I thought you wanted the conversation between these two.
Oh no, I meant the theme song.
Yeah. So Angel overhears him, and he's fucking creeping in the shadows, like masturbating. Fucking, he's been standing in the shadows, fucking jerking it for like the last 25 minutes. And he's when Gage leaves, he's like, "Oh God!" And he has to put it up really quick. But anyway, he hears Gage say "psycho bitch," and Angel, he's like, "Oh, you got to be talking about Buffy." And he's like, Gage is like, "Who are you?" And, "Oh, she and I had this thing," and so they're talking about it. And Angel says, or she really needs somebody to knock her off her high horse. And Gage is like, "Yeah, that'd be cool, but who?" And he turns to fucking Angel, and Angel vamps face, and he's like, "Well, lucky for you, I'm recruiting." And then he bites into the dude, and Buffy's coming out conveniently around that same time, coming out of the bronze, and she hears Gage screaming like a little bitch. I mean, because he literally sounds like a woman as he's screaming. And he does, though. It's like, ah! And so Buffy comes running, of course, and Angel sees her coming, and he stops feeding on Gage, like he's grossed out, like he's like trying to spit out the blood that he'd been drinking, and he's just like he's just totally fucking grossed out, and trying to spit out the taste or something. And she gets there, and she does like a flying fucking kick to his face, and he picks up Gage and like throws Gage onto Buffy, and then he runs away. And he's like, "Is that what killed Cam?" And she's like, "No, that was something else." And he's like, "What do you mean something else?" And she's like, "Yeah, we have a lot of something else's in this town." And now he's scared, and he asks her to walk him home. And I'm like, "Oh, wait, what happened to psycho bitch? Go find somebody else to harass." I'd be like, "Fuck you, you're on your own, douche." But she breaks down and I guess is going to do it. So where do we go to next, James?
We are back at Sunnydale High the following day, and Buffy and Cordy and Willow are sitting on the benches in the pool, the Sunnydale pool, and
We call those bleachers.
and and
they're eating popcorn.
They are eating popcorn
out of a giant like movie popcorn bin, and I'm like, where did they get that?
And they're talking, and they wonder what could be killing off the swimmers. And well, they do have a brief exchange about Angel spitting out Gage's blood, and they're wondering about what could be killing off the swimmers. And
This conversation kills me, bro. How they go in? Yeah.
And Buffy says that it could be steroids, and that's why Angel didn't like the blood. And
how did she, never mind.
And as they're talking, Cordy starts to get moony-eyed over someone walking into the pool area, and we realize it's Xander. And I don't. God, this is another part where I was like, Joss wrote this. Joss wrote this. She's completely fucking gaga over looking at him. You know,
She's
head
like, ladies, that's my kind of
like
something.
toe to head, and then is like shocked when she gets to his face and it's Xander. And I'm like, there's nothing. Listen, I'm an out of shape guy. All right, I'm overweight. I'm so compared to me, does Nicholas Brendan in this moment look good? Yeah, of course he does. Does he look good compared to the other guys on the swim team? No.
No,
Like, I don't.
it's very average looking.
This is not, to me, of what we know of Cordelia up to this point. This is not the body type that Cordelia would see and be like, "Ooh, I got to get me some of that."
Yeah, it's not like Brad Pitt walking out from, say, what was the one they went all?
Legends of the
Fight,
Fall,
Fight Club. All the
Fight
chicks were
Club,
crazy
right.
about him for that. It's like, it's definitely not that.
Right. But yeah, she's all into it long before she gets to the face and realizes it's her fucking boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, uh, and I don't like I don't, like I said, compared to me, is he like decent body shape? Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But
Did
he's not. It's nothing like drool worthy.
No, I call that very average
Right.
body. And don't forget, Willow is also fucking moist and dripping. She is, because
She is, but
her eyes are like this fucking big.
No, you're right. She is, but let's be careful with our phraseology.
I'm just saying, she's very fucking hot for teacher, or I guess he's not a teacher, but you know what I mean.
Right.
And she's all like, "Are you gonna say the line she says?"
I wasn't, but if you want to, you can.
She's like, at one point, she's like, or he says something like, I'm undercover, and so I'm gonna watch the, I can keep an eye on the rest of the swim team when Buffy can't. And Willow's like, "Oh, you mean when you're nude? I mean, changing?" And I was like, Jesus Christ, she's ready to drop Oz right fucking then, dude. And I'm like, okay, how strong is that relationship?
Right. Well, we'll find out in season 3. So he walks over and he tells them, like you said, that he's joined the swim team to kind of keep an eye on things when Buffy can't. And Willow tells them that Jonathan wasn't responsible for killing the swimmers, and Cordy's like thrilled that she's dating a member of the Sunnydale swim team. And we cut to later, and they're all in the sauna, and Xander's just going on about, I don't even remember what he's going on about at this point, and no one's paying any attention to him. And we kind of pan down from the window of the sauna and to a grate in the floor, and we see claws come up through the grate and grab it. And then we cut to Buffy waiting for Gage outside of the boys' locker room. And Xander comes out, and they have a brief, meaningless exchange. And he leaves, and she's still waiting for Gage. And we go inside, and we see that Gage is in there by himself, and he smells something awful. And then we cut back to Buffy, and she hears Gage scream, and she rushes into the locker room, and she sees him there with one of these fish monsters. And all of a sudden, he's crying out in pain again, and he falls to the ground, kind of clutching himself. And he ends up ripping his shirt open and then ends up tearing the flesh off of his chest to reveal the scaly skin of one of the fish monsters underneath. And it's actually a pretty graphic body horror scene. Like, he's tearing off his own flesh, and
It was very well done.
you see the claw break out of his hand, and the flesh of his hand just kind of flops down and falls off.
It was very well done.
Very Cronenberg, The Fly.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep.
And he eventually completely sheds the Gage skin suit and
his fleshy overcoat,
and is a full-fledged fish monster. And Buffy fights them off, and one of them
apparently these fish monsters stink really bad.
They must.
Because whenever one's about to show up is when somebody's like, I guess they smell like hot dog farts. I don't know.
And one of them does manage to bite Buffy on the arm, and all of a sudden Coach Marin shows up, and
I'm like, where the fuck did he come from? And why wasn't he there for 20 minutes ago screaming? You know?
Right. He busts into the locker room, and when he shows up, the fish monsters belly slide across the fucking floor and into an open sewer grate,
like it was a slip and slide.
Right. Yeah. Which, okay, I was
run over and jump into
right.
the hole.
Right. So I was gonna say two questions. There's not two questions. There's just one glaringly obvious question. Why the fuck is there a sewer grate?
Why is there and it's big, dude. It's like
a man's
3 foot by 3 foot
square, a man-sized sewer grate
in the middle of the boys' locker room.
In the middle of the boys' locker room, that it leads right down into the fucking sewer, just right into the sewer.
Yeah,
running underneath Sunnydale High.
Yep, where all the vampires and monsters live, and all of the administrators of this town seem to know this.
Right.
But they put their students in the utmost risk at all times.
Right.
So, yeah.
So
the slide was the best, though, dude. That was
it was pretty good. So then we're in Nurse Screenley's office, and she's bandaging Buffy up, and Coach Marin is there too, and Giles kind of chides him for not questioning the team about whether or not they were taking anything, and Coach Marin's like, they started to get better. What the fuck do I care? Basically.
Well, I'd be like, what? Why would I question them? Why? What signs did they show that none of them came in 310 pounds with fucking throbbing fucking veins in their neck? You know.
I guess just the fact that they became a good swim team should have been enough to alert him that something was off.
But by the way, have you ever heard of swimmers taking steroids? I haven't. That's not one of the sports I've ever heard, like doping being a problem. I could be.
I don't know. I should have Googled it. I should have.
I could totally be wrong. It's like, wait a minute. Swimming's like one of the sports, because you wouldn't want to put on any weight,
right,
or anything like that. So I don't think steroids.
But I also wouldn't think that professional biking or cycling or whatever would be a sport that someone would dope up in either. And
well, from what I understand, that was what, just human growth hormone, though, wasn't it?
It's still
like or I don't know, pure gasoline. Who the fuck knows? But it just seems odd to me to take steroids to be a better swimmer. But
right. And then we cut to Buffy and Giles hunting for fish monsters in the sewer, and in the meantime, Xander's back in the sauna with the rest of the team, and he's very blatantly not even trying to like hint at anything. Flat out ask them when are they getting the next dose of roids, and one of the other swim team members is like, we're already getting it. It's in the steam, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
Xander's like,
right.
Can I opt out?
Right. And then we cut to Greenlee and Marin. And what are they doing, Jeremy?
Fighting like a level of like Mortal Kombat fighting. Like massive uppercuts, fucking blood's flying everywhere. At one point, fucking coach is trying to scramble and get away, and she's like, "Get over here!" And she throws this fucking hook out of her hand and impales him and shit. No, the nurse is like following him as he's walking through the pool area into the locker rooms, and she's like, "This has got to stop!" And the children and blah blah blah. So now we're like, okay, so these two are in on something. And coach is like, there's no quitters on this team, and he's like, we're close to perfecting it. We just got to adjust the mixture. And I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, we've really gone off the rails now, haven't we? And it's basically she's like, it has to end, and he's like, fuck you, it does, and he throws her in this fucking hole.
Another
Another
man-sized fucking sewer grate.
And by the way, this is a middle-aged, heavy-set woman in a, like in a nurse's clothing, and he just grabs her, and like she would have died from the throw because she lands in like 2 feet of water.
Right.
And
right.
I'm like, that would have killed her. She's dead. She's now dead.
Right. But again, like this is another, and they're a level below wherever the fucking sauna is. Like they're in the fucking like, it's because they're coming down a fucking ladder to get to.
That means when the monster's belly slid into that hole, they dropped like 2 stories to get to the sewers.
Right. But so again, so they've got to be in the basement, right?
I would think
this ever-present. Why do they have access to the basement in the first place?
I don't know, because they walk through the pool area by the pool to get to this place that they're at, where there's this hole that he literally throws her in.
Right.
And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean, what's he doing? You were threatening to expose him. He just threw you down a hole. He's trying to murder you.
Right.
But, and he's like, well, I still take care of my boys, and they got to eat. And all of a sudden she gets pulled under the water. So apparently, as we've now discovered, these boys are turning into these creatures, and then he's taking care of them still. They're living in a hole down by the river. I don't know. So they eat the teacher, or I'm sorry, the nurse. Did you already talk about that Buffy and I don't know where you left off. Let's see. Okay, yeah, sorry. Now we cut to the library, and Xander's telling him how he's discovered how they're getting the steroids. It's in the mixture it's in the aromatherapy bullshit in the steam room, which I don't even know if any of that would even be fucking possible, but whatever. Xander's freaking out because he's been exposed to it 3 times, and blah blah blah. And Cordy's okay with it, of course, because now she's not dating an unpopular nerd anymore. But she also doesn't want to date the creature from the Blue Lagoon. he's like the Black Lagoon. The Blue Lagoon was Brooke Shields. God damn it!
So as much as I dislike Xander, yeah. I did like this line, and I will fully admit it's because I feel like I'm the type of nerd that if I was in this situation, like I would still take the time to be to be sidetrack upset about the main issue that
Yeah.
someone incorrectly.
Yeah, the Blue Lagoon. I'd be like, I'd have to say it because otherwise it would drive me fucking nuts.
Right.
Anyway, Buffy says they better get the rest of the team, round up the rest of the swimmers, and get them locked up before they become in touch with their inner halibut. And Giles is like, yeah. In the meantime, we got to find. This line fucking kills me. He says, in the meantime, we got to find out exactly what's in the gas so that the hospital can develop an antidote. And I'm like, yeah, that's just a thing that they do. Whenever they discover something poisonous, they just, we just need to analyze it and we'll create an antidote in about 10 minutes.
Right.
So Willow says, okay, she'll talk to the nurse and Buffy's going to talk to the coach and yada, yada. So we cut to Buffy interrogating the coach and he's like, you're imagining things. And she's like, well, I'm imagining you in jail getting ass raped right now. And actually, she says getting beaten up. But in my mind, she said ass raped. And
she meant beat in the ass by Cox.
Right. She meant your ass is currently being fucking torn inside out. That's what I'm imagining, you sick fuck. And he's like, why are you imagining my ass? And she's like, ooh, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then she vomited.
And then she threw up on him in his face. And then he threw up. Right. And it was just a cycle. He's like, you don't have any proof. And she's like, you fucking better tell me what's in the steam. And I'm like, just beat him up. You're the Slayer. Just fucking hurt him. He will clearly sing if you hurt him. But anyway, for no reason, he just decides, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to spill the whole fucking plan now.
I don't. Okay, so you say no reason. And I obviously, I think we can all determine pretty easily how I feel about this episode based on how I've been so far.
How you've been recapping?
But like my presumption is the reason he spills the beans about what's going on is because he fully intends to fucking kill her. Like, he just doesn't do it for no reason. Like, he's gonna murder her.
Yeah, but it's like, oh god, it's the same old trope. Like,
right? Oh, it's
no reason whatsoever. Okay, fine. I'm gonna tell the entire fucking gag.
Right. It's 100% the James Bond villain, or the Batman villain trope where they've got the hero. They're 100% sure that they're about to kill the hero, so they just spill all the details of their evil plot.
Right. So so you got to hear this because this is literally said. He says, after the fall of the Soviet Union, documents came into light detailing their experiments with fish DNA on their Olympic swimmers. That's a goddamn motherfucking quote. Let me read that again. After the fall of the Soviet Union, documents came into light detailing their experiments with fish DNA on their Olympic swimmers. This is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard or read or seen in my fucking life.
Well,
First of all, let's dissect this. How the fuck did this dorky fucking overaged, old fucking fat swimming coach in a high school in California come across some documents, some top secret documents from the fucking Soviet Union, first of all?
Right.
Second of all, when did he become a chemist? Because she's like, well, they weren't able to crack it, but you were. And he's like grins like, yeah. And I'm like, if you were able to do that, why are you a swimming coach in a high school? And then she's like, why? Why did you do this? And he's like, well, what kind of stupid question is that? For the win. It's like I don't even want to go any further. This is so stupid, dumb. So then she's like, she doesn't care. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but it's pretty widely accepted that the Soviet Union was experimenting with human animal hybrids during World War II.
Okay.
Particularly
on their Olympic swimmers?
Well, no, but particularly humans and apes.
And nothing ever came of it.
Well, no.
Because
Of
it's
course
fucking stupid science fiction bullshit.
Well, I'm just saying.
Oh, so she's like, I don't care why you did it. You know, fuck you, basically. And he's like, you don't have any school spirit. And I'm like, this went from ridiculous to stupid in like 2 sentences. He's like, I did it all for the school spirit, you fucking bitch. And then it amps up another level of stupid. He pulls out a fucking 9mm and fucking points it at her. And does he shoot her to end this? No.
No.
He says to her, get in the hole. And she's like, I ain't getting in no holes, and you ain't sending no buckets with fucking lotion down in them. But he's like, nah. So yeah, she gets in the hole because he's got her by gunpoint. And she's like, this isn't over yet. And then she jumps in and she sees the nurse's body, bloated corpse fucking float by. And she's like, oh, that's fucking nasty. And she's like, you're just going to feed me to them? And oh, God. This whole scene, bro. This whole scene. And he says...
This is one of the scenes I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, you were going to tell me when...
I forgot.
Okay.
Because it's literally the last line of this, scene. But he says, they've already had their dinner, but boys have other needs.
What the fuck?
Right. I was trying to cut my wrists at this point with
I'm not even kidding you, Jeremy, when I tell you I almost turned the episode off.
Yeah, because it's like...
And was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
This one scene was stupid, ridiculous, offensive, and every other adjective you can think of, all in one scene. And it made I suddenly did not care anymore about what had happened prior or what is going to happen to finish this episode up. I didn't care. I was like, this is so stupid.
For like, as stupid as the overall scene was, for me, it was that last tidbit. They've already had their dinner, but boys have other needs. I was like, I'm done.
So in other words,
I was like,
fish mutants need to pull a train on you now.
I was like,
because why?
This scene and the subsequent scene of her in the sewer, like when she's all wet and drenched and her shirt is like clinging to her body. I was like,
it's like they purposefully shoved her tits up. And
I was like,
yeah.
I was like, I'm going to go back to my computer to jot down my notes and that stuff. And when I look at who wrote and directed this episode, one of those people is fucking Joss Whedon.
And it was a man and woman team.
Right. And it wasn't Joss. I was like, I cannot believe this.
But you know that he came in late that night when everyone else was gone and fucking made some fucking edits for his own fucking jollies.
He was looking at it and he was like, well, right here, insinuate Buffy's a whore.
Yeah.
Right here.
Because don't forget the line she says.
Hold on. He's like, right here, blame rape and sexual assault victims
on their clothing choices
because of their clothing they're wearing. It was
the line she says to start that scene really sets the tone too, which we'll get to.
Okay.
We cut now to Cordy and Xander are at the pool, and Xander's scratching at his neck like a fucking meth fucking fiend, and she's like. And he's like, does my neck look scaly? And she's like, yeah, because you've been scratching it nonstop for fucking 30 minutes. And he's like, I need a mirror. And so he runs off into the fucking bathroom to look in a mirror. And she's just kind of chilling by the pool there. And she hears somebody come running and jump into the pool. And she looks over and she's like, Xander, what are you doing? And then she realizes, oh, fuck, it's not him. It's one of those monsters. And she's like, shit, he turned into one. And so she's talking to it. So here you go. I got a clip, and I'll just play that.
Any gills yet? Xander, what are you doing?
Xander? Oh my God, Xander. It's me, Cordelia. I know you can't answer me, but God, this is all my fault. You joined the swim team to impress me. You were so courageous. And you looked really hot in those Speedos. And I want you to know that I still care about you, no matter what you look like. And we can still date. Or not. I mean, I understand if you want to see other fish. I'll do everything I can to make your quality of life better. Whether that means little bath toys or whatever.
That's not me.
Yeah, so Xander shows up and he's like, "That's not me," and the creature jumps out after him and they bail. At no time, okay, she says, "Oh my God, this is all my fault. You joined the swim team to impress." At no time did he do that.
Right. So I was just gonna say that scene, everything after her comment about how good he looks in the Speedo to when Xander shows up back up and gives her startles her, is the only redeeming quality of this episode. I'm not even lying. I thoroughly enjoyed that brief scene with Cordelia.
That's why I pulled the clip, because I was like, wow, this is the first time we've really seen Cordy
be human. Like be fully human.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
that scene shows so much character growth from the Cordelia we met back in Welcome to the Hellmouth to now. It is literally like a small rhinestone gem hidden in a 3-foot turd log.
Wow, that's a lot of fucking peanut butter sandwiches to get a 3-foot turd log. No, but yeah, that's why I pulled that clip, because I was like, wow, this is the deepest we've ever seen Cordy be.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you when I was like I said, it so showed so much character growth for Cordelia.
Yeah. So then we cut to the library, and Xander's I'm sorry, Xander. I put Xander in my notes, but Giles is locking up the rest of the swim team into the book cage, and they're just going like happily without any type of resistance. And he's all like, "Stay calm, chaps. Either we'll find an effective antidote, or we'll just stay calm." And I'm like, and they're all just cool with it. And Willow says everyone's accounted for except Sean. And about that time, Xander and Cordy walk in, and they say, "Well, we found Sean. He's in the pool, skinless dipping." And they're like, "Well, fuck." And then they're like, "Where's Buffy?" And not back yet. So we cut back to Buffy, who's now who's still in the hole, the water hole. And she says, "Here's the line that I promised you. Just what my rep needs. That I did the entire swim team." And I was like, yep, that's a sick fucking Joss Whedon fantasy is what that is. He probably has gangbang porn on his fucking computer. And the monsters are stalking her at this point. They're, under the water and going around her and shit. And she's like, "Ah, fuck." We cut to Xander arriving, and he says, "Hey, coach." And the coach spins around, and he's like, "Oh, it's Harris." And he's like, "Where's Buffy?" And we see the coach kind of eyeballing the 9mm, which is sitting like right there, not too far. Like he can reach out and grab it. And cut back to Buffy, who's still getting stalked. And then all of a sudden they attack, and she's fighting them as best as she can. What is there at this point? Like 5?
There's 3 down there.
Oh, 3? Okay. Looked like 5. She's fighting them off as best she can. And then all of a sudden the coach goes for the gun, but Xander just fucking wrecks him. He's just like toying with him. He like grabs his arm and he's like twists it, and then he just fucking like backhands the piss out of the coach, and he's like, "Fuck you, old man." And we go back to Buffy. She's still fighting, and then They kind of got it. They're kind of closing in on her. They've totally surrounded her, and Xander sticks his arm down in the hole, and he's like, get my hand, and she reaches up and grabs it, and with much struggling and her kicking at the monsters and whatnot, he gets her pulled back up, and they're both like, oh, fuck, and then all of a sudden the coach comes up out of nowhere with the gun in his hand, and he fucking smokes Xander in the back of the head, and then Buffy grabs the coach and throws him into the hole, but then she holds onto his foot like, oh, changed my mind. I don't want to murder you. But she loses grip, and the coach goes in, and he's toast. Those monsters straight up eat him.
This is another point where I was like, I had convinced myself at this point that Joss had written or directed this episode because it suddenly became very Xander centric.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty much through the whole episode. I correct myself. And fucking Xander saves the goddamn day.
Yeah, every time Xander like houses somebody, you can pretty much assume that Joss had a hand in that episode, a heavy hand. But anyway, then we cut to the common area. It's all over. Xander's saying he has to meet the guys later for a plasma transfusions after his makeup final. Willow's like, yeah, Giles is pretty sure the treatment's going to work. And I'm like, you know what? Normally I would tear this apart, but I hate this episode so much I don't care.
You know what's funny is when she said that, I was like, of course that's going to work. It's literally the only thing that could possibly work on short notice is
Yeah.
like, is,
Well, I guess we'll just fucking take all your blood out and put
right,
new
is
blood.
a complete blood transfusion.
Yeah.
Like,
But he's going for several, apparently. So, and then he has a pretty good line. Xander says, good, because turning into a creepy crawly wasn't on my top 10 list before I turned 20. And then Giles gets there and he says, I swear to God, he says this, animal control just left, but the monsters aren't there. They're gone. Don't know where they went. And Willow's like, oh shit, are we going to have to hunt them again? And Buffy's like, no, I don't think we'll ever see them again. They've gone home. We cut to a scene of the ocean, and they're all in the ocean swimming out to sea, and that's it. But I'm like, wait a minute. You called animal control. What did you tell them? Hey, we have 3 creatures from the Black Lagoon here at the school. If you could come and pick those up for us, you might want to bring a fucking a net. I mean, what? But whatever, you know. I don't care. That's the end of the episode. Thank Christ.
tell me, Jeremy.
Yeah.
How many mothers
One.
giving birth to new life and devouring old do you give this episode?
1.
Okay.
I give it a 1. I don't even really have much to say about it. It was trash. The fucking episode was trash. There was the Cordelia scene. Well, it wasn't even a Cordelia scene. It was a Cordelia minute-long deal that was good. A few lines sprinkled in that were good. Other than that, it was fucking garbage, trash, a heaping. I'm done. That's all. James.
Yes, sir.
How many pieces of shit do you give this episode?
1. And I'm
Yeah.
going to say the only reason it gets a 1, the only reason it is not a 0 is
Mhm.
because of that very brief shining Cordelia moment.
Yep.
That is
And
literally the
lines
only
that are sprinkled in. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
No.
just the Cordelia. thing.
just the Cordelia thing. There
Okay.
is nothing else good about this episode.
Okay. All right. Nothing much. I don't even really think there's really that much to talk about. It just wasn't good. It was.
I'm
stupid.
I'm not sure how you think there were other good lines in this episode.
Oh, you know, people had a couple of little funny things, quips to say here and there, but it was just shit, dude. I mean, there's nothing to really discuss except avoid this fucking episode. If you're listening to this, and avoid this fucking episode, it is fucking garbage.
Yeah, it gets a 1 from me solely because of that brief golden nugget from Cordelia-ness.
Yeah.
It's this does not make the list of episodes I show people if I'm trying to get them to watch Buffy. And if I'm flipping through channels and I see Buffy's on and it's this episode, not only am I turning it off, I'm probably pissing on my television.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna rip the television out of the wall and go outside and beat a tree with said television.
I'm gonna take it out on my television for having the audacity to try and show me this fucking episode.
Yeah, and then I'm going to the network that's replaying it to piss on someone's eye, their literal eyeball, for having the audacity to replay this piece of fucking dreck.
Right. So on one hand, the fact that Joss Whedon didn't write or direct this episode is completely and utterly shocking to me.
That's because he did, and I'll tell you how he did. Because this husband, wife, or whatever they are, life partner people that supposedly wrote, those are not real people. They were created by Joss Whedon as his pen fucking name.
But here's the other way I know it wasn't written by Joss Whedon, and this is completely contradictory, I understand, but it's such a god-awful episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
his episodes are offensive, but they're good.
Right. Like, if you go through the list of fan favorite episodes, most of them were written and directed by Joss, as much as I hate to admit that.
Well, because nobody knows his universe better than him.
Right.
You know.
But also, like you said, even those really great episodes have moments where it's like, fuck, dude, I can't believe you had the character say that or do that or whatever. How about a little monsterology, Jeremy?
I don't care. I'm just being honest. I could give a fuck.
I understand, but just because we dislike the episode doesn't mean we can't fully commit to what we do here every week. It doesn't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If you were to have a bad day at work, would you just be like, well, fuck this entirely?
What you mean, like in quit and shit?
Yeah.
Oh, I've done that. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Well.
Oh yeah, I've had certain days at certain jobs where I was like, you know what? Fuck this, and I just never went back. Yeah. Oh yes, I've had that. You know that one movie where the guy's like grabs the thing and he's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out. Yeah, I've done that.
Nothing really in the way of monsterology. Obviously, huge influences from the creature from the Black Lagoon, and other 50s and 60s,
and Brooke Shield,
sea creature, humanoid sea creature movies like that. The obviously Creature from the Black Lagoon, the horror of Party Beach springs to mind.
The horrors of Party Beach?
The horror of Party Beach.
Oh, I was like, I want to go to Party Beach.
And Humanoids of the Deep. But this could have been inspired by any of those.
Oh, really quick. I'm sorry. Yep. I know we should have said this before. But just really quick. Did you notice Oz actually was in this episode, but it was for like 45 seconds?
No. Where?
In the cafeteria scene.
Was he?
Yeah, Willow was sitting on Oz's lap.
Oh, and I didn't even notice that.
And when Snyder comes in, he says, are we low on seats? And she's like, I didn't read anything. Oh, and then she gets down and gets off his lap. And
no, I completely missed that.
Like, really? You put him in for like a 30-second scene? I'm sorry. Anyway, I just...
our body count this week is 2. Nurse Greenlee and Coach Marin. I did asterisk it as 6 if you count Dodd, Cameron, Gage, and Sean, who all became...
who never get to be people again.
Right. They all became...
That's kind of fucked up.
And
they don't even care. The Scoobies don't even care. Like, they're not even like, hey, we should see if we can fucking reverse this shit for them. So for these poor fucking kids so they can have a normal fucking life. No, they're just like, fuck them. Let them go live in the ocean.
Right. And not only that, but like, I mean, they'll probably like live full lives for a while. There's plenty of
monsters.
Right. Well, there's plenty of food in the ocean, but they're never reproducing. Like, they're the only 4 and they're all dudes.
And they probably all have the fucking, like, now their mental capacity is probably like a fish.
Right.
And it's like, wow, you're not even gonna try to pull. Whatever. Anyway,
Right.
sorry. Yeah, let's get this over with.
Some behind the scenes for this episode. This is the last time the opening prologue is used in the series.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's a shame. I always like that when it randomly pops up
Yeah.
and you hear Giles' little voiceover.
This episode was originally intended to be placed before Angel loses his soul. So that's apparently why he's barely in it. Which I don't know. That doesn't really make sense. You would think he would have been in it more if that's the case, unless they cut out all the Angel stuff. Well, I guess that does make sense. They would have cut out all the Angel stuff because he had lost his soul at this point. So, well, and they needed some way for Buffy to figure out that whatever was happening is in their blood.
No, that's stupid because that scene, how she just jumped to that conclusion while they're sitting on the, he didn't like something in their blood. Must have been steroids.
Right,
What?
Not
crack.
But what I'm saying is, without that brief Angel scene, there would have been no conclusion to jump true. from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But I would have assumed my first thing would have been like, ooh, they're all on crack. Steroids, really? I don't know.
How's crack any better? When has crack ever turned anyone into a giant fish creature?
What if Gage had AIDS? And that's what Angel tasted. There could have been nothing even in the other one's blood. It could have been a red herring that meant nothing.
True. Our bronze band this week is none.
Yep.
Our music this week includes Man's Chinese.
But there was a DJ and there was no cover at the bronze this week.
Right. Our music this week includes Man's Chinese by Naked from their album Naked, released on Red Ant Records in 1997.
Released by Naked Records in 1997.
And If You'd Listen by Nero's Rome from their album Togetherly, released on Lazy Bones Recordings in 1994. And of course, the original score as composed by our two Seans. Goof 'em ups and oopsies, the entire fucking episode.
Thank you.
And my final thoughts, this episode sucks except for one very brief, awesome Cordelia moment. Do not watch it. I cannot wait for next week's episodes because they're so fucking good.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing.
This was such a, not to keep harping on it, and I can't believe we spent 2 hours talking about this fucking episode.
We did. We spent 2 hours talking about a bunch of shit and very little talking about the actual episode. That's the truth.
But no, everything we talked about related to the episode, I think.
Well, we were 25. Just so you know, we were 25 minutes into recording before we started.
Right.
The episode, so.
Right.
Yeah.
After last week's episode, which was so good, in my opinion, I don't remember what you rated last week's episode.
I think I rated it average.
Like
2.5, 3, something like that.
I think I went. What did I do last week? I went. I think I went 5. Yeah, I went 5 last week.
We need to go back through all the episodes and get our ratings. Start jotting our ratings down, in a little chart or something.
Yeah. After last week's episode, which was so good, this is such a fucking disappointment. I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it when
it's one of my top 3 most hated episodes ever.
Right. Well, I mean, I hate the episode, obviously. But what I was going to say is I hate it when there's such a drop in quality from episode to episode.
This was clearly a bottle episode because there was 3. There were only
like
3
locations. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a bottle episode. So sometimes those sometimes you hit and every now and then you strike gold with one of those. But by and large, a bottle episode is usually hot fucking trash.
And thankfully, the next 2 episodes are a huge uptick in quality compared to this.
Oh yeah.
Which tends to be the standard for Buffy finales. But that's my final thoughts. Do you have anything to
I
add?
got nothing. You know me.
Yeah.
I was ready to fuck off 20 minutes ago. So
Just a reminder to the viewing and listening audience, we will be going on our 1 month hiatus in between seasons starting November 28th. And we will be back on January 2nd with new episodes.
of season 3.
Of season 3, yes. So our
Probably
final,
probably my favorite season. Yeah, probably.
yeah. So yeah, our last new episode will drop on Monday, November 28th, and we will pick up again with new episodes on Monday, January 2nd, where, as Jeremy said, we will be starting with season 3, which, if I remember correctly, there I don't remember many bad episodes in that season. I think there's quite a few treats in that season.
Yeah.
You can find us on the interwebs at buffyrevisited.com. That has links to all of our socials, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter for the time being. Another reminder, our Twitter will be deactivated at the end of the current season, so effective November 28th. Well, I'll wait a week. I'll drop it the week after the 28th, but after the end of this season, we will not be able to be found on Twitter anymore for reasons that I don't think need to be gotten into, but we will still have a presence on Facebook and YouTube, where you can find us through our links at buffyrevisited.com. There's also a link to our email address, buffyrevisited@gmail.com. Reach out to us on any of those platforms. We'd love to hear how you think we're doing with the podcast. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the specific episode we're covering, and of course Buffy and Angel in general. We would love to engage with you guys in those kinds of conversations. And that is all I have.
All right. Well, all I will say is thank you for joining us this week. We look forward to seeing you next week in our penultimate episode of this season, which will be season 2, episode 21, Becoming Part 1. So I look forward to that, and we look forward to seeing you there. I have been one of your hosts. I am Jeremy.
I'm your other host, James.
Fuck Elon Musk. Ta-ta.